Okay, wanted to provide a quick overview of a couple of new user controls we've added to the user lookup feature within Twitter Gadget that many of you may find of value and benefit. There's a couple of different ways, primarily three ways in which you can conduct user lookups to find up more information about a user, follow, unfollow them, and so on and so forth. The first or primary means is once you are already following someone, in many cases, if they've made a recent tweet, they're going to appear in your timeline. And so if they appear in your timeline, when you hover the user thumbnail, you will have a bunch of different options available to you, as you may know: retweet, favorite, view their archive, and follow, unfollow. So the first means is the follow, unfollow icon. So that when you click, it will do that user lookup, provide some biographical information that they've entered into their Twitter account. And if you're already following them, and obviously you are if they're in your timeline, or at least in your home tab, you can elect to unfollow them. And that will remove them from your timeline. However, say a particular user has not made a recent tweet and you wish to follow them or unfollow them, whatever it may be. Or if you're looking to add a user to your follow list, how do you go about doing that? The primary means of doing so is using that tweet input area. And as many of you know, the tweet input area also doubles as a search box. Now, a standard search is going to search for the keywords you enter across the Twitter, the universe of tweets that have been submitted to Twitter. But instead of doing a keyword lookup against tweets, if you prepend that query with user colon, followed by the username you're looking to potentially follow, followed by Control Q for submitting a query, we will conduct a lookup for that user, and you can elect to follow them by clicking the follow button. Now they will be added to your timeline and your follow list, and therefore their tweets will appear. Now again, as mentioned, in addition to following someone new, if someone hasn't tweeted in a while and you wish to unfollow them, you won't have their icon available to you to hover and remove. So you can also do that same user lookup and followed by Control Q and elect to unfollow them. So first two ways, either directly from the timeline via that follow unfollow icon, or through a user colon lookup. It's also worth noting that when you do a user colon lookup followed by their username, I mentioned to use Control Q to submit a query, and that is the primary and correct way to do that. However, if you happen to have submit on enter turned on, so that when you type into the tweet input area and hit the enter button, typically it's going to auto submit your tweet. But if we detect that your tweet starts with user colon, we discern that your intent was not to submit it as a tweet but conduct a user lookup. We'll intercept that, not submit the tweet, but instead do a user lookup of that particular entry. Okay, so those are the first two primary ways to do user lookups. The last of which is if you go to the user statistics panel via the drop-down arrow, you get a count for those you are following and those who are following you. If you click the link for those you are following, you're going to get a total overview list of everybody you're currently following. And since you're currently following, the option is going to be presented to you to therefore unfollow them. In contrast to that, if you click on a list of followers, some of those you may be following back, and therefore you can elect to unfollow. Some of those you may not be following, and therefore can elect to follow back. And those options are presented and available to you. Now that's the previous version of Twitter Gadget. So let's switch over real quick to the new version of Twitter Gadget, where you'll see we've added a couple of new user controls. And instead of looking up, we can still look up, and we'll see in Gadget here, for example. And not only now can we follow or unfollow someone, we can also elect to block a particular user or report a particular user as spam. Now we're not going to do those to the Engadget account because that wouldn't be nice, but we do have a test account in place when we work on these features to make sure what we're doing works correctly. Now, in many cases, someone may appear in your replies tab that is spamming against your account, and when you click on your replies tab, they'll appear there. And therefore, if you click on that follow unfollow icon, you'll present it with these options to block that particular user, report them as spam, and so on and so forth. So that's probably one of the primary means that you're going to take advantage of the block and the spam links or buttons that are now newly available to you is directly via the timeline for someone who happens to appear in there that you may not wish to see. But in addition to that, when you do a user lookup, those options are also going to be available to you. You can see I'm currently following our test account, but if I'm currently not following this test account and I'm blocking them. I can elect to unblock them and they're no longer blocked, and so therefore I may no longer be following them, but they're no longer blocked either. However, if I elect to follow them, now they will appear in my timeline and as I've elected. But say I no longer wish to have them appear in my timeline, and not only that, I want to block them as well. Well, I can click the block link, and because I've now blocked them, I've automatically unfollowed them as well, as witnessed by the fact that I can elect to now therefore follow them. If I follow them back one more time, now they're unblocked, they are being followed, so now I can elect to unfollow them. And therefore, if I choose to report them as spam as well, let's reconnect to user lookup. Not only will it report them as spam, but it will therefore automatically block them. So spam has been reported, they are blocked, and therefore I am no longer following them, and I can elect to follow them in the future if I so desire. So that's it in a nutshell. Just a quick little overview of the 2 new features we've added. So in addition to the user control for follow, unfollow, you can also elect to block or unblock someone, or report someone as a spammer, who will therefore automatically block them from your timeline as well. Hope you enjoy those new features, and thanks for using Twitter Gadget.